Head out to the AFC West, where the Raiders have their quarterback in Jimmy G, but they did get him some help. And I'll ask you, Rick, because
No, I'm going to ask you. You keep asking me.
There you go, Rick.
Go ahead.
Take control.
well, you've drafted tight ends that have had success at Minnesota.
Yeah.
How important is Michael Mayer in a post George Kittle world and post Darren Waller, because he's no longer in Las Vegas, for Jimmy G as the quarterback, looking to find his way in that Josh McDaniel offense?
Yeah, well, he's probably the most complete tight end in this draft class. He may not be the most athletic, but he may be the best blocker at the line of scrimmage besides the Washington, the kid from Georgia. He's not overly twitchy as far as getting in and out of his cuts, but he's very smooth, and he knows how to get open. More, he relies on his route savvy. This guy may be the best contested catch tight end I've seen in a long time. He can be a threat in the red zone. He's not overly athletic after the catch, but he's going to run through people. So this is a very solid pick for them in a tight end that really fills a need.
Yeah, Mayer was my best pick for the Raiders. He led all tight ends in receptions, 180, and receiving yards in the last 2 seasons. He's going to get an opportunity to certainly do that in Las Vegas. The Raiders had a really good draft, man. Jacorian Bennett, we've talked about, he played opposite Deonte Banks in Maryland. He ended up going in the 4th round. Chris Smith out of Georgia is a really hard-hitting, undersized safety. He went in round 5. But I'll ask you, Emery, about my guy, my hidden gem, Trey Tucker out of Cincinnati, because we just talked about someone who plays a lot like him in Tank Dell. So tell me about Trey Tucker. Played with Tyler Scott in Cincinnati, and they were incredibly dynamic in that offense.
Yeah, quick starters, guys that can get open quickly. And again, when you think about what this offense is going to be, working well underneath, and how well can you handle after the catch? Can you be a great rack guy? Can you be someone that can extend and get the first down? I think Tucker can do that. And I find that the fact that he's going to the Raiders and they're going to try to play this quick game because that's where Jimmy G tends to excel. So you want to line him with guys that are catch and run guys. And I think Tucker is excellent in that regard. Plus, again, I've noticed you've liked a lot of guys that are 5'9", 182.
Yeah, what's up?
You have yeah, okay, I just want to know. I want to make sure. The people want to know.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw you a curveball here because we're going to Los Angeles with the Chargers. Justin Herbert, a little bit taller than me, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We got him a little help. The Chargers did in the 1st round, and that is going to be my best pick. Quentin Johnson out of TCU. He is 6'3" and change, about 215. Ran in the 4.5, so I thought he played faster than that. I thought he was good at all 3 levels. So how is this not a good fit for what they have with Mike Williams, what they have in Keenan Allen, who's getting a little, to borrow Rick's term, long in the tooth, and I think he is an immediate upgrade. And I'll put it to you this way. Would you rather have had someone like Zay Flowers in this offense, or does Quentin Johnson get the job done because he's such a huge target?
I think either one would have been fine, but I feel like we're looking at Quentin Johnson the wrong way. We're seeing him as this deep threat, but you see how he's catching the football. He doesn't have good hand technique. So I think he's a better inside slot guy or guy that can be a catch and run threat. We talk about what they have going vertically down the field. You get him, I think we saw glimpses of that in that Michigan game where they threw the low crosser and got him the football, and he was able to run 70-plus yards for a touchdown. I think that's where he can do a lot of damage within this offense.
Big man with small man movement skills.
Yep.
Bingo.
You would say that a lot. All right, Rick, my hidden gem, and you are the 1st-round draft pick for names. It's the defensive lineman out of USC. You want me to do it, or are you going to do it?
Nah, Rick got this. We talked to him, Rick.
Tuipulotu.
Oh, he got it.
There you go.
Tuli Tuipulotu out of USC. He's listed at 6'3", 266 here. He was in the program guide during the fall. It was 290. I don't know if he ever played at that weight. We talked about this with Pete Prisco, Rick, that the Chargers draft these guys on the inside and they can't stop the run. Does Tuipulotu help in that regard, or are you thinking more of him as an outside guy?
Yeah, he's a tweener right now. I think if you want to play inside, he's going to have to add some weight. There is some twitch to him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a true edge speed rusher, but he knows how to work the edges of blockers. So I think they can use him multiple ways as an inside rusher or as an outside rusher. But if you're going to put him fully inside, he's going to have to add weight.
No, I think that's right. And, you know, we talked to him at the Combine, and he's a great kid, and I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Not a lot of buzz about him, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be a good football player. It's just a matter of finding the right position for him. All right, let's go to the home of the defending Super Bowl champs there, home of the draft. What do you got?
Can I say this guy's name?
Oh, of course. Yeah, he's pumped now.
Hey, you got this one. He jumped up.
Yeah, he just learned how to do arithmetic. He was telling everyone to do math problems.
Long division.
Felix Anaduke Uzama.
All right, clip that striker because that will be going viral shortly. That's my best pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, the edge rusher out of Kansas State. And Rick, you saw him live, so I'll ask you about what you thought about him because you liked him in the fall. I was less keen on him. But
Yeah,
part of
because
that
you
could've
were with your love fest with
Yeah.
Juju Brents, but there are other players on that roster that actually are pretty good.
And the issue was
when you
that-
watch a team and you're breaking down tape, just don't focus on the one you love. Love the one you're with, and there's a lot of them to love on that.
All right. So
Rick.
Rick talking about Anna Dookie. So tell me about why FAU why he will have success. Because one of the issues that you pointed out when we had this conversation in the fall is that maybe he's not playing in the right position.
You threw me off there. I thought you were talking about Florida Atlantic.
You got me too. You got me too.
Felix Enrique Uzama is what I call him FAU.
Okay. Does he go by that?
He does for me.
Okay. No, this guy is a edge pass rusher, another guy that pins his ears back. They reduced him some down inside. I watched him live in the Alabama down at the Sugar Bowl, but when they put him in a wide 9 technique or outside the offensive tackle's shoulder, he can bend and dip at the edge, and he has extremely explosive first step quickness, and he can find the quarterback, and he will pursue and chase all the way till the whistle ends. Needs to get a little stronger at the point, but I think he's an immediate help as a pass rusher.
Right, they got rid of Frank Clark, so they have some holes to fill there on the edge. My hidden gem was Wanya Morris out of Oklahoma. We spent a lot of time talking about Anton Harrison, the left tackle out of Oklahoma, who ended up going to the first round. Wanya Morris was interesting because we all saw him at the Senior Bowl, and we're like, okay, this guy, he's not messing around. And I think what he provides in Kansas City is some depth with an opportunity to get some playing time. They signed Jawan Taylor out of Jacksonville. They have intentions of playing him on the left side. That'll be interesting to watch unfold. But Wanya Morris will give them depth early on. I'll be honest, I didn't love this Kansas City
Because you
draft.
were focusing on Anton Harrison again. You got to.
No, I like Morris. I said the overall draft I wasn't crazy about for the Chiefs.
Okay.
Like Rasheed Rice.
So I should be a better listener.
It's up to you.
Nah, you're all right, Rick.
It's up to you.
Not that. Did we talk about anything else except when I was talking?
No, you're
Okay.
good.
We were just going through the motions. All right, let's go to Denver, where Russ Wilson needs to figure some things out. And I think, Emory, I'll come to you first. I think this goes a long way in doing that. They got Marvin Mims, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. We talked about the smallest wide receivers. He's 5'11", but he's only about 180. Ran into the 4.3s. We talked to him at the combine. He is sharp as a tack. He has an edge to him, and he is an absolute playmaker. He plays inside or out. I'll get to you in a second here. Mostly, he's going to play inside at the next level. Rick will tell you. He has return ability. Why you like him?
Well, I don't worry about the fit because
okay.
you have Sutton, you have Judy, you have Tim Patrick coming back healthy.
KJ Hamler.
KJ Hamler still there with the same type of guy. Now it's a new coaching staff, new regime. What do I want to do? But Mims, I love the player, love the fit in terms of what he can do. But where is he going to fit, Rick?
Well, look at the durability of all the guys that you just.
Great point.
And okay, and who says one of those don't get moved before the start of the season? Especially if, as a general manager, if you have a bucket full at the position, that there's opportunities to potentially move those guys right before the season, if other teams have significant injuries as well. So you always, you can never have enough.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Swift just got moved because they had a bucket full of running backs.
And the other thing, too, I just want to make a point, is that what Detroit did with Hawkinson, what Detroit did with Swift is that they were coming up on their rookie deals. They're not going to re-sign them, or they made a decision as an organization, okay, we're not going to take that type of money and spend it on those players because they're good players, but you're going to have to pay. Now I can go ahead and draft, get a cheaper player that is going to be just as good, and then I can move and gain extra draft capital. So if a team doesn't want to sign them or know they're not going to sign them to an extension, then go ahead and move them. And I thought Brad Holmes has done a phenomenal job doing that. Now he gets heat outside. How can you give away Hawkinson? How can you give away Swift? Look who's coming in, Laporta and Gibbs.
Yeah, and you could argue pretty easily that those are upgrades.
Yeah.
And they got something in return in the trade value. All right, my hidden gem for the Broncos. They got Drew Sanders, a player I liked a lot that had some first-round buzz, the off-ball linebacker / edge rusher out of Arkansas by way of Alabama. And then Riley Moss, Rick's Riley Moss. He ran to the 4.4s. I didn't think he played that fast, but Rick, he is one of the smartest players in this draft. You brought me around on him. Tell me about Riley Moss and whether he's going to play outside, slot, or maybe.
What do you think? Do you think he's going to play outside?
I'll tell you like I tell.
I mean, this is your sleeper. He's not a sleeper in my opinion, but you can pick the low-hanging fruit.
Well, it's not low. You thought he's a first-round pick, so not sleep on your eyes. But, that's a conversation for another time. I think you start him at cornerback. The same conversation I had about Skoronski. You put him out there left tackle. Either you can do it or you can't, and then you move him inside. But I think he is so smart, and you've talked about this countless times. You don't have to be a genius to play cornerback, but you do have to be smart to play safety. And I think he's more than smart enough to be the captain of the defense, if you will.
Yeah, no, he's a very good football player. I think he answered some questions down at the Senior Bowl as well, because you saw him in man coverage as a corner against the receivers. And, the question, and you said this, can he run fast enough? Well, in my opinion, when he turned and ran with a lot of the speed receivers down at the Senior Bowl, there was no question he was going to be able to run. He's instinctive. He can find the ball in the air, and he's a solid run support, and he'll come up and hit you.
Yeah, he did some things on tape that seemed like he was playing 8D chess while everyone out there was playing checkers. Speaking of playing checkers.
Iowa has some pretty good football players, didn't
Right.
they? They always do.
Not on offense outside of Laporta.